All right. Next week's presentation, Dr. Enrique Lopez, Maintain Your Brain. Now, this is a continuation from his March presentation. And if you can't remember his March presentation, this presentation is for you. So, so Dr. Lopez will provide practical tools and lifestyle tips for keeping the brain healthy and vital. Additionally, he will describe how the professional diagnosis and assess cognitive disorders and differentiates between normal aging and a cognitive disorder such as dementia. Now, Dr. Lopez is a psychologist, neuropsychologist, and has been an allied health professional at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center's Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Neurosciences since 2004. He completed a postdoctorate fellowship in neuropsychology at UCLA's Neuropsychiatric Institute and Hospital in 2000. Dr. Lopez attended Occidental College in Los Angeles from 1985 to 1989 with a major in psychology and a minor in Spanish literature. Okay, so don't miss next week if you can remember. It's a good reason to sign up on the on that website. All right, this week, the main event. Collette Clavadetscher. Close enough? Close enough, okay. Lakeside Little Theatre. We've all been to the Lakeside Little Theatre. It's really tiny, right? I had trouble getting in. But through the pandemic and what is in store. Now, COVID has had its effect on the entertainment industry globally, and Lakeside is no exception. The Lakeside Little Theatre, the oldest English language theatre in Mexico, has tried to keep people in the loop through the past 18 months. Come and find out how the people, come and find out, you're here. Find out how the theatre has managed during this difficult period and the plans for navigating the future. You'll also hear about the great shows that are coming up at LLT. And on every table there's a list. And also there's a sign-up. Are you going to mention this? The sign-up sheet? Okay. If you want to attend. Now, Collette Clavadetscher is the president of Lakeside Little Theatre since May 1st, 2018. She has been a board member in various positions since 2013, acted in performances since arriving at Lakeside in 2010, and directed 2 plays it ends there, in 2017, sorry about that, 2017, 2018, my printer let me down. Okay, I'd like you to give a warm, open circle welcome to Collette Clavadetscher. Collette,
Well, thank you, Phil. And the name is Collette. It often gets mistaken for Claudette, and I do respond to that, but Collette is preferred. Okay, so all the world's a stage, as William Shakespeare said in As You Like It. And during the pandemic, with closures everywhere, and little or no travel, and most of us getting used to wearing masks, doing Zoom calls, and watching tons of Netflix, these last 18 months has been a time to really adjust. And those in the theater world, where we do have a stage, we have really been adapting and adjusting and trying to figure out how we can maneuver and reinvent ourselves and still have our names out there for everybody to keep us in mind. And perhaps, things like are getting back to normal, or we're hoping bit by bit. You see more and more people walking the streets without their masks. And so people, I think, are feeling a little bit more comfortable. And we are, at Lakeside Little Theatre, we're evolving to keep on keeping on. So as, I keep going out here, is that okay? As Phil had mentioned, Lakeside Little Theatre is the oldest English language theatre in Mexico. It was established in 1965. Yeah, we're very proud of this. And so I'd like to tell you a little bit about our past, or how we've gotten to where we are now, before I talk about our future plans. Okay? So in 1965, when it all started, it was a bunch of actors. You know, they always say, actually, if you get two Brits in any town, you'll always have a community theater. So they must have originally been British or had roots. You know? At any rate, those early productions were held in homes, in restaurants, even at the old train station. And then in 1985, the O'Rourke family gifted land to LLT, and an actual physical theater was constructed. And originally that was with 110 seats. And it was, I mean, when I came here in 2010 and was given a tour of the theater by Georgette Richmond, I was so impressed. I had lived in Zurich and performed there with the community theater, and I just said, oh my gosh, you guys are so lucky. And in 1997, actually a rehearsal hall was built that added to everything. So it's just an amazing property. Peter Luciano was the president before me, and he had a vision for how the theater could be even better. And so he approached somebody called Tom Weeks, who's a resident here in Lakeside in IE, and he's a retired architect, specialized in theaters, renovating them, building them. So Tom agreed to be involved in the project, and he volunteered his time and his talent. And what he did was he started out by having some focus groups, and he asked, you know, people who had worked as stage managers, as directors, as actors, even some people who had been patrons. Got these groups together, and he basically asked, you know, what is it that you like about the theater? What are the things that you think work? And he then also asked, what could we change? What could make it better? And then he put together a big plan, and he presented it to the board. We were thrilled. And then we took it to our annual general meeting and got the approval, because we needed a budget of 6 million pesos to do this. Well, having a budget and having money are two different things. So at the time, the director of development who we had on board was Dennis McCary, and he did an amazing job of raising money. He started what we called the third act, which was our initial donation program. And he would ask people, he would send out emails, and in fact, he talked to somebody, she's actually here in the audience, I don't know if she wants her name mentioned, and it was at a cast party. And she was there as a friend of one of the cast members, and he started to talk about the renovation project and everything, and she said, you need some money? I'll write a check. And you know, it was a nice, we were very, very happy for it. And so he would do that to everybody. He would just, if you don't ask, you'll never know, right? So he was extremely successful, and he raised almost all of the money during his term as director of development. And so we had enough in the bank then, in our renovation account, to start construction, hopeful that we would get any of the remaining funds as time went by. So the actual construction took 7.5 months, and it was headed up by Gary Peerless, who was the key contact person with our contractor. And we made changes such as having a wheelchair ramp so that it's easily accessible for people to get into the theater. The stage was lowered by 1 meter, and the proscenium arch, that's the top that you see when you do go to the theater, where the curtain hangs down from, that was raised. So basically you could see that much more when you were in your seat. And then the seats themselves were all torn out. They were donated then to, thanks to Georgette actually, she had contacted the local fire department, and I think Tepewa, and so all of those seats were put to good use here in the community. And so then the whole seating area was then re-cemented new seats were put in, and we were actually able then to expand our seating to 122 seats, plus a special space just for a wheelchair. So it was very easy to get a wheelchair in there and be able to enjoy the performance. Our terrace area was totally revamped, making better use of that space. We also put in new bathrooms. Our green rooms, that's where the dressing rooms are and where the actors, when they're not on stage, have a chance just to relax for the next time that they're called on stage. And that was all done and enlarged. The front curtain, we replaced that. We bought a brand new one. And we had a very generous donation for what we call our traveler, which is a back curtain. We sold seat plaques, and we were able to sell 119 seat plaques out of the 122. And that money financed the cost of the seats and the front curtain. So we were really pleased about that. And as I said, there were 119 seat plaques sold. We've got 122 seats, so there's still 3 plaques available for anybody who wants to buy one. Okay. Anybody who had donated to the third act, they are listed on our website, and we are extremely grateful for what they did, because it has, the theater is just so much better. And also from a patron's standpoint, or seating point, you can see so much better from anywhere in the theater. We really don't have a bad seat. Okay, so a little bit then about our theater. Out of curiosity, how many people have already been to the theater in the past? Oh, great! So a lot of people already know it. Those who don't, I hope that you will come. If anybody would ever like to have a tour of the theater, you can contact us, if you send info at Lakeside Little Theatre, and that's theater spelled the British way, re.com. We can arrange that for you. So our normal season runs usually the beginning of October until the beginning of April. And I put a flyer on everybody's table with our current season. And you can also see that online. And it's got some helpful information on the back. It's also got our seating chart. It's got some helpful information about getting tickets, etc. So we have traditionally had 6 shows in a season, which is quite a lot. I was totally amazed when I came here. I thought, 6 shows, wow. And it overlaps. So we're very lucky that we have that rehearsal hall. So one group can be in the rehearsal hall rehearsing while the other is on the stage. And we have in season 55, that was our one exception. We only had 5 shows because of the renovation. We didn't want to make it too tight. And then unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to cancel that first show. However, we did compensate our patrons for that. And we had, from the renovation, we'd had a lot of payables still at the end, because we thought we were going to get that final show, some more income, and the entire COVID lockdown happened 1 week before our final show, so we weren't able to put that on. And it happened in the week that we had planned to have our season ticket sales. So money that we thought was coming in didn't. And so it was very difficult for us. Canceling the last show was a disappointment to not only us, but also to our patrons. And we were never able to put on the show, which is sad, because the main actress in it just passed away this year. At any rate, those payables that we had we were thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to manage this? You know, now we've got COVID, we've got a lockdown, we're not able to do anything. Well, Brian Matis was our new development director, and he is the successor to Dennis. And he established a new capital campaign called Center Stage. And our board members, I'm really proud of this, came to the rescue and donated a total of 250,000 pesos to establish a matching fund. And so we got an additional 250,000 in donations, which was a lifesaver, to say the least, because that was roughly what we owed for those payables. And the Center Stage continues, and we're going to be having things like a targeted gift program for any special things that we need as we are improving and going on. So season 56 was the season without a stage play. Besides that, we had other events that were planned and we weren't able to put on. We already had something cast. It was called The Play's the Thing, a celebration of the works of William Shakespeare. And the week that lockdown started was when they had their first rehearsal. So that was off the books. And however, we are hopeful that if nothing else happens, that we can put that on at the end of our final show at the end of April, then this Shakespeare event. We also had a 10-minute play festival planned. We were able to get 18 playwrights to submit their works, and we had, I think it was 35 plays in total. And we had 3 people who were directors who then, they looked at all the plays, they read them, they had no idea who had submitted them. So there was no favoritism involved or anything like that. And although playwrights could submit up to 3 plays, only 1 could be selected. There couldn't be, you couldn't have 2 in there. So 8 were chosen, and everything was like, oh wow, we're all set. In May, we're gonna solicit directors and audition actors, and then we're gonna put on this festival in August. Well, that then also got put on the back burner, and we're hoping to do that in the summer of 2022. We were granted the rights for the 6 plays that we had scheduled for season 56, and we paid the royalties for most of them. And so we kept having to say, oh, we're going to have to push out the dates. We're still in lockdown. And finally then, we've been able to use those exact 6 plays for our season 57. And, but while we were not able to be on stage for season 56, we did try and keep in the community's eye. Oh, sorry. So some of the things that we did, we sent out notifications of free presentations that you could watch on your computer that were done by professional theater groups. And that went out every week from April through August. And it went to our mailing list, which is over about 1,250 people. And by the way, if you're not on our mailing list and you would like to be informed, please see this lovely lady here in the green. And that's Deborah Elder, and she will take your information and we'll put you on the list. We also had improv sessions via Zoom from May through September. And then speaking of Zoom, we decided to do an actual play via Zoom called The Importance of Being Earnest. And we had people not only here in IEHE taking part in it, but we had 2 actors in Portland who were acting in it. And so it was a different type of production, but a lot of people enjoyed it, and we uploaded it to our YouTube channel. Yep, we've got a YouTube channel. So you can still see it if you missed it. We had a video tour that was filmed, and Sharon Brackenbury, who used to be our production manager, she narrates it, and her son filmed it. And it gives you a chance to see what is in the theater. What does it look like? Then we have loads of people that have been attracted to Lakeside who are very talented and have had past very illustrious lives in the theater world. And a new project was proposed called the Legacy Project. And that is a short interview of people. It's like 15 minutes long, roughly. And it's filmed and edited and then uploaded to our YouTube channel so that you get to hear a little bit about their lives, both before coming to Lakeside and while they've been here. And the people that have been featured so far are Barbara Klippinger, and she was one of the June Taylor dancers. Then there's Peggy Lord Chilton, who was an opening act at the Playboy Club. And Roger Larson, who was an actor in California and was in the Fantastics and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for many, many years in the Bay Area. Then in September 2020, we launched our Readers Theater, which we called Ahihik Readers Theater, or ART, at LLT. And so we were able to use our outside terrace, and we had a small stage back there, so we had it enlarged so that we could actually have actors at a safe distance from each other. We had the audience members seated 6 feet apart. We were able to seat 40 people. We required that people were masked at all times. And it was extremely successful. Our first show, we had so many people coming out for the auditions that it was decided to do it for 2 different weekends with 2 different casts so that more people could have an opportunity to be on stage. So it just showed you people were hungry to get back to doing something again. These shows we had between the time of September 2020 and July of this year, we had 10 weekends where we had, over the different months, where we had an art production. And they sold well. And for the first 3 shows, we actually sent out a survey to all of the people asking them how safe they felt. And 100% said they either felt extremely safe or very safe. And the majority of those were actually with the latter, extremely safe. Since 2018, we've had a Christmas concert. And this past year, 2020, was no different. Thanks to Robert Teamy, he organized 6 singers and 2 actors who did various musical numbers that are, seasonal for Christmas, or read some humorous poems. And now, in case you didn't know, LLT has online ticketing. So you can buy your ticket from the comfort of your living room using your credit card. And it has been extremely popular. The first show when we launched this was the Christmas show back in December, and 65% of our tickets were sold via the online ticketing, and all 3 of those shows were sold out. So it really showed that people were liking it. Of course, we still have our box office, and it's, however, no longer open every Wednesday and Thursday, just because the majority of people are doing it online. So we do announce, when we announce a show, exactly when that box office is open. And it's easy to do the online, because basically if you ever bought a ticket at LLT, your name is probably already in our database, and then you can just sign in. So, oh, by the way, at our box office, we also, besides cash, we do credit and debit cards. All right, so as more people were getting vaccinated, people were feeling safer, everyone was sort of breathing a little bit easier, we decided that we were going to launch our season ticket sales for season 57. And we did that in late August, early September. And I'm really pleased to say that the 600 subscribers that we had in season 55, 50% of those have resubscribed. And when people didn't renew, The reasons included things like, well, they were still concerned about COVID. They weren't coming back yet. They had big plans to travel now that they thought they could. Or they felt that they were getting older and they had health or aging issues. Or they just wanted to have a wait-and-see approach. And they would come as they felt safe doing so. Well, we just completed our first show of our season, Everything in the Garden, and it was a big success. And our individual ticket sales, those are those sold in addition to our season tickets, I think we increased by almost 50% the number of seats sold. So for the entire show, we had an average of 50% of the seats filled in the audience. And I think that for COVID, I'm really pleased with that result. And everybody, because of course when you have a season ticket, you've got your favorite seat that you want to sit in. But we did announce before every show that if anybody felt uncomfortable being so close to somebody they didn't know, that they could easily move to another seat. There was enough space. And our bar has not been open, which has caused a bit of disappointment among many patrons. And I'm pleased to say that it's going to be open starting with our next production on November 5th. So the reason for not having it open were then real concerns about people taking off their masks and never putting it on. And because the art performances were already on the terrace, we thought, oh, that could be that they'd never put it on during the whole show. And then now with our first main stage play, we were a little concerned, well, people might not feel comfortable going out on the terrace for intermission. But when we heard that many people would have welcomed it, we felt, it's all part of the theater experience, isn't it, you know? So we will be opening that. I think a lot of people are going to be happy about that. So something else, in addition to our stage plays, we have, since 2015, we have been presenting screenings from National Theatre Live. And for this season, we have 3 scheduled. One already happened last weekend, which was A View from the Bridge. We have another one coming up in November, which is called No Man's Land. And then the third one will be in January 29th and 30th, and it's called the Layman Trilogy. And this is then where you, I love it personally. You feel like you're able to go to this, fabulous presentation of a play by world-renowned actors, and you just feel like you're right there in London. At any rate, you can find information about it on our website. We have black boxes throughout. There are like 10 of them. There's at Super Lake. They're downtown, where Diane Pearl's used to be. They're all over town, and you'll see flyers of our upcoming shows as well as the NT Lives. Well, it would be remiss of me if I didn't mention volunteering, because that is really the lifeblood of community theater. So besides actors and directors, we need a lot of people to make a show come to life. First of all, there's the construction crew, and that's, it's amazing how they can transform that stage into something totally different. And then there's stage managers who are then involved from even before auditions start right up until the final curtain goes on the show. People who do props. Props are those things that basically any actor takes in their hands during the show. And then there's makeup and wigs. We have technical crew that do light, sound, and projections. There are box office ticket sales, because our box office is open even though we've got online ticketing. And then there are front of house greeters who now scan your ticket so that we can actually tell, oh, who's not here yet, are they okay, whatever. And then we have, starting in November, bar sales. So if you are interested at all in volunteering for any aspect in the theater, please, please, please. The lady for that is Deborah Elder. She's our production manager. And her email is, it's online, you can see it on our website, but it's a volunteer, without an S, at lakesidelittletheatre.com. And we're always welcoming new people. It's wonderful. I mean, people move here and they've got a past and they've done things before, or they think, what am I going to do now, you know? And so we've got loads of things for you to do. Just raise your hand and come on by. All right. So there are 2 more shows with auditions. And the one is going to be in November for our musical. A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. And the other one will be in January for Cakewalk, which I'm now going to be directing in place of Paul Klugman, who couldn't come. So please, we always need people, and it's wonderful how this season so many new people have shown up for the auditions, both for art and for our main stage plays. There are 5 more shows in the season. We've only had 1 go live so far. The next one is November 5th. And I talked about our season ticket package, which was for 6 shows. We've now put one online for the remaining 5 shows at a cost of 1,100 pesos. So you can purchase that online, or you can go to the box office. We're having it specially open this coming Wednesday and Thursday from 10 until noon, and then the following 2 Wednesdays and Thursdays after that. Now, I mentioned the website several times, and it really is worth exploring. There is so much information on there. You can find out who's on our board. We have 11 full members and 1 member emeritus. And 7 of those members are elected and 4 are appointed. You can find out then about our bylaws, how to purchase tickets, and gives you a seating plan. And then there's the shows that we have that are coming up with all of the dates for the auditions and for the actual shows. The upcoming NT Live screenings are on there so that you know the dates. If you're interested in any kind of history, you can see our past productions. And we have loads of videos and photos that are also available. Any of those, the Legacy Project videos, the links are on there as well. And then finally, our donor program. That has then a description of all the different levels and the benefits of each one, as well as all of the names of the people who have donated in the past. So, LLT has been around since 1965, and with your support, we plan on being around a lot longer.